Merdeka! Merdeka!
World evolution. As long as there are people, technology will keep progressing. The advancement of technology has come a long way by changing the world's economy and reshaping the human's lifestyle. Hence, in this modern era, the pride of our nation, Merdeka 118, was introduced to the world. The shape of Merdeka 118 was inspired by our first Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman, shouting the iconic phrase Merdeka for 7 times while having his hand held up to the sky. This building is a 118-floor skyscraper currently under construction in Kuala Lumpur. It is a multi-purpose skyscraper for hotels, office space, people's residence and shopping malls. Merdeka 118 will definitely overtake the iconic Petronas Twin Tower and the Exchange 106 to become Malaysia's tallest structure and the world's second tallest building. On the other hand, this project is owned by the Permodalan Nasional Berhad Group through PNB Merdeka Ventures Sendirian Berhad. Despite the positive feedback for the construction of Merdeka 118, what are the pros and cons of this project?
Merdeka 118 kedua tertinggi di dunia
bakal memberi manfaat kepada keluarga Malaysia.
Ini menjadikan Merdeka 118 penada aras.
I had no idea. That's crazy awesome.
7 times from the top.
The 5 billion ringgit funding required to finish Merdeka 118 has been criticized by many. Such a large sum of money may be put to better use elsewhere, most notably in the country's healthcare and education sectors. Is it really necessary to build a behemoth of a mega project skyscraper at such a high expense while our economy is in a recession? Not to mention the project has been facing setback after setback, delaying its completion due to piling and foundation issues, which also required more and more additional costs brought on by the remedial works. Should the safety of this building be questioned? How come a skyscraper funded with billions of dollars would have these type of issues? Critics around the world have criticized this project. Some come as far as calling it a waste. Should our hard-earned taxpayer money be used to subsidize yet another risk-taking large-scale investment?
I strongly disagree with the negative allegations made because to finance this super mega project, it doesn't use even a single cent from the government budget or Petronas as mentioned by a lot of citizens through social media. As stated by the President and the Head Executive Group of Permodalan Nasional Berhad, Ahmad Zulkarnain on, the development of Menara Merdeka 118 is 100% owned by PNB through its equity holding in PNB Merdeka Ventures Sendirian Berhad, whereby their funds are from the Amanah Saham Bumi Putra, or better known as ASB. Returns from this building also go back to the ASB depositors. Apart from creating job opportunities and raising the country's name, it will generate consistent long-term returns for millions of people who save with PNB. The dividend will eventually increase the income of the people, specifically those who save their money in ASB. Hence, the aggregate income of people will increase, which leads to increase in aggregate demand for goods and services. Thus, the country's GDP will also increase.
Merdeka 118 has been compared to another Megaproject skyscraper, Shanghai Tower, located in Shanghai, China. These two skyscrapers share a lot of similarities. Both located at the heart of the country, both built at a staggering 600 plus meters, and both dubbed as the country's revolutionary game changer. The Shanghai Tower, though, has unfortunately been labeled as a disappointment economically. The most notable failure of Shanghai Tower is its incapability to fill up their floor space till this very day. Its failures can be clearly shown at night when only half the tower is lit up. Considering Merdeka 118 has more floor space than Shanghai Tower, the question looms if such a predicament would befall upon Merdeka 118. If an economic powerhouse like China could not make it work, how can a still developing country like Malaysia pull this off? A tower of architectural marvel, but an economic failure.
China's economic performance is much better than Malaysia, but we should never underestimate what our people can do. In this case, Shanghai Tower is predominantly an office skyscraper, while Merdeka 118 is a mixed-use skyscraper. This Merdeka 118 building will house almost 70% of PNB employees. When this huge number of people are gathered under the same building, hence the economy within the building will be stimulated. In addition to that, since Merdeka 118 will be the second highest building in the world, it will definitely be the main tourist attraction in the Southeast Asia in the future. Therefore, in the future as well, our country's GDP level will rapidly increase. Hence, our nation's aggregate expenditure will also rise. The reason for our GDP to increase is because our production will incline significantly due to the joint demand from local citizens and tourists. Besides that, other components of aggregate expenditure, such as investment, might also increase because investors are attracted to invest in Kuala Lumpur due to the good economic condition predicted by economists after the completion of this project. Consequently, after considering the above justification, Malaysia's unemployment rate will decline as this Merdeka 118 project and SMEs nearby will create millions of jobs for the citizens.
One thing can be assured, the completion of this tower will have an adverse effect on our country's economy. All we can hope for as citizens of Malaysia is that it will be a start of a peak economic phase, a golden age to be remembered by years later. Currently, our GDP stands at 38th best in the world. Hopefully, if or when this tower succeeds, it would help us soar to the very top of countries with high GDPs, such as the United States of America, China, and South Korea. We should strive for a higher GDP because when GDP growth is strong, firms will hire more workers and can afford to pay higher salaries and wages, which leads to more spending by consumers on goods and services. Thus, us citizens get to achieve a higher standard of living.